think what is really unique about what we're talking about today is this is a series, right? We're talking about the top left arrow. It's your digestive arrow. This talks about how you actively digest life, the world around you, your food, and sort of how you take this information in and process it within your body. So this is Jen's arrow. This is the arrow that she talks a lot about. We have a master class on it in planning by design. So if you do want to dive deeper from our conversation today, just let us know. We'll get you in there. But the digestion arrow is so cool because it talks about, yeah, how we digest life, how we digest the world around us, and how we digest our food. So Jen, how do you want to open with this arrow today? Because this is maybe your favorite arrow.
Yeah, between this and the environmental arrows, I love working with the unconscious arrows, the two on the left side of your chart, of your body graph. So simply knowing if this top left arrow points left or right can really have a huge impact on how you align with how you're meant to digest food, whether it be your metabolism, your body physically, or learning, especially if you are in school, taking a certification program, right? Like any of the ways that you're learning and digesting information, knowing how you are meant to do that can make a huge difference in finding ease with that, right? Being in your self theme of success, satisfaction, peace, delight, or falling into your not self theme, which is not helpful for the body when you're eating or when you're trying to learn. So, yeah, simple information can make a huge difference.
It's so true. And I think what I personally love about discovering my own direction that my arrow points and kind of helps me understand how I digest the world around me and how I digest my food really allowed me to sort of escape the traditional structure of like, well, this is how you're supposed to eat 3 meals a day, and this is how what you should be eating, and this is how you should be eating it. Or this is how you're supposed to study when you're in school versus, well, actually, I have a right-facing arrow, and so I'm not meant to do it a lot of the structured ways that the world presents to us. And I think that was a really beautiful opening for me to understand myself on a different level, but also help, heal a lot of some of the gut issues that I had when I was younger.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so much conditioning. And I kind of see this arrow digestion as a whole in three layers. The first layer being your type, just going by your energy type, like manifesting generators need to eat for your energy. You need to fuel that sacral with food, with calories. So if you're doing a lot of stuff, you're going to need to eat a lot more. Where if you're more in a rest phase, especially if you're a two line, or something's going on in your life where you just need to like take a step back and not do as much, you need to eat less. Whereas projectors, we eat like birds. So I need to eat every 2 hours. I need to pick. I don't need to eat big meals. And it can be really hard for me when I'm with manifesting generators. I feel that sacral energy and I'm like, I have to finish my plate, right? Conditioning to finish your plate. No, I don't need to finish what's on my plate because if I eat too much, I can be really bogged down, right? It can have a lot of adverse effects. So then the second layer is left or right. You described beautifully that right facing arrow. I have a left facing arrow. So knowing that I need to eat around the same time in the same way every day to have structure and routine when it comes to my meals and digesting information was really helpful for me because I was trying to go with the flow or do like intuitive eating, only eat when I'm hungry, except ask anyone who knows me, it's really bad when I get hangry because I don't notice, right? Especially if I'm with a generator and the sacral's spinning and I burn out. I'm not great to be around because I'm really hangry. I didn't eat every 2 hours. And then the third level of your digestion is when you pull your chart, you'll see digestion and something there, sound, thirst. Mine is open taste, right? That taste part. So knowing this and what that means, which all of that information is in the masterclass inside of Planning by Design, that's that deeper layer that you can take that changed my life working with that. Now I can easily survive, really, because it was so tough before because I was so conditioned. So, yeah, whether you're starting at the very top, just understanding by type, whether you're really working with your digestion determination arrow with that left right, or you're really stepping into what does my digestion mean? One of those six, well, really, there's 12, six different words like the senses, right? What is yours, Mistral?
You caught me off guard. Let me look really
Sorry.
quickly. No, 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 that's good because it's one of those things that like I don't know my chart 100% all the time, and I think that it's impossible for anyone to know that unless you're constantly studying it. And this is an area that I don't go into often is my digestion, and I should because it's such an important part of our lives. I'm actually alternating appetite. And
Mm,
so I know that for me, especially with my right facing arrow and being a manifesting generator, I do go through times where I'm like, will eat three big meals a day. And then the next week, I like pick all the time. And I absolutely can't stand having the same meal. Like, we don't do like Taco Tuesdays because that's like too structured for me. Like,
yeah.
maybe we'll have Taco Thursdays, maybe Taco Sundays. I don't know, but it's
Yes.
definitely not anywhere structured for me. I like to have the freedom, right? To be like, what do I feel like right now? What do I want to feed my family? I don't know how that does for my manifestor daughter and my projector son.
Right. And that's a great point. I live alone. I can adhere and align to my digestion with ease because it's just me. But for you or any moms out there, anyone who is feeding a family, it can be a real challenge to try to navigate all the different energies, all the different digestion types, right? If you're making full meals and want your kids to eat those full meals because you're a manifesting generator, your non-sacral kids, especially that projector, is going to be like, no, mom, I just snacked so much and I don't want to eat this meal. But then half an hour later is like, mom, I need a snack, right? Because
Yes.
that's how he functions.
Yeah, no, this is so true. And actually, just speaking of the kids thing, I think because I know a lot of moms struggle with this, is like some of them having, kids get labeled as picky eaters or they don't eat a lot or they eat too much, those sorts of things. Yeah. And I think understanding their human design and then understanding those digestion errors helps you feel better as a mom to understand what your kids do actually eat and why they might be more of a snacker versus a full meal eater. And it's funny that you say that because my projector son, sometimes I wonder if he really is a projector because he's the opposite of all of it, probably because he has a manifesting generator mom, even though I do try to very much honor him and his design. But he is someone who will, like, I can never feed him enough, like he is
Yes.
constantly eating. And it comes back to that snacking where he's eating every 2 hours, but sometimes it's a small meal and then sometimes it's a really big meal. So I don't have his chart right in front of me to say what type of appetite he has or what his sensory is around that. But I should dive into that because that would be interesting to figure out for him as with the way that he eats and supporting him in that way.
Right. And I think when you do find out what your digestion is, that third level, there can be a lot of relief. It can take a lot of pressure off. I know for me, with having open taste, left facing arrow, I was trying to be a chef. And I don't want to be a chef. I don't want to cook. I don't want to do it all. So I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to like make lavish meals or make a lot of different things. So when I started understanding what open taste is, that I have to try it to know if I like it, and I really need to only have like three or four options for every meal to make it really, really simple so that I have my go-tos. So it was so interesting because I realized that I had already done this with breakfast. I love breakfast. I have like four options. It's like, okay, which one of those do I want? But I was not applying that to other meals, right? Putting this pressure on myself that I have to be this way. I should do this. And as soon as I began aligning with open
I
taste,
follow my human design chart, and that's where I find success. And now, am I a master at my digestion? No, because I also am a mom and I have a busy lifestyle and I'm kind of a little bit all over the place. And so I really try to follow what feels good and what my body's telling me that I need. But for someone who is really struggling with their digestion, this is such a great place to start and begin to understand it because it tells you exactly how to do this for yourself, which is huge because so many people are constantly looking for this kind of advice. And all you have to do is get your human design chart pulled, which you can do for free online. Now, in order to understand it deeper, you do have to come and see a professional like Jen or myself or somebody else in your circle whom you trust to help you figure out what is the best way for you. But this is why Jen and I preach human design is because it literally gives you the insights. And so you can, when you see an ad online to like reduce bloating, drinking this drink or whatever, like, sure, maybe that does work. But if you're still out of alignment with how you're designed to eat and what you're designed to eat, it probably isn't going to completely function in the way that it should be, or you won't function the way you should.
Right. And with each of the 6 or 12 different types of digestion, depending on how you're looking at it, right? There's 6 different types. You have appetite, I have taste. And then whether our arrow points left or right makes it more specific, right? I have open taste rather than closed taste. You have alternating appetite rather than consecutive appetite. And just to speak more to your digestion, in case anybody else watching has an appetite, especially a alternating appetite, it's really like thinking about the caveman, right? This is kind of the first level, the line one, and it's really about keeping it really simple, like meat and potatoes. You may be a meat and potatoes type of person, and having that consecutive means that wait, you do have consecutive, right? I'm getting confused. Not
Wait,
alternating.
no, I have alternating.
It is alternate. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yes, you're a caveman, super simple meat, potatoes, vegetable. Alternating means that you're going to pick a little of the vegetable, you're going to pick a little of the protein, then you're going to go the potatoes, and you're going to go back and forth. So, typically, people with that appetite don't like bowls filled with things because they almost like to eat one thing at a time to sample around. Whereas someone with consecutive appetite would almost need to eat all the meat first. They would start at one and eat it all. They're not going to be
I'm
alternating
laughing because
between
that's
this.
my son. And I'm like, why do you do this? That's why.
Yeah. Right. And that understanding and what we were talking before about moms, having it be a little simpler when you understand what your children need. How can you support them and say, you actually do need to like that. Maybe I'll, serve your plate a little differently than I would mine.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Boom. Mind blown.
I love it.
So we've talked a lot around in circles here with the digestion area, just because there's a lot of layers and there's a lot of detail. And with Jen being so knowledgeable in this particular arrow as being one of her passions, having this masterclass on it, it's a perfect place to go deep on this kind of information. However, it's important to see it in the masterclass, I think, where there's slides and more information, and Jen goes into much more detail. So for now, how would we sort of just like, I guess, summarize today's live around digestion, just to sort of end it and kind of pull all the pieces together for the people to sort of walk away with just like, this is how I feel about myself, and this is or not how I feel about myself. This is how I digest the world around me, including food.
Yeah, so I think just keeping it really simple, whether you have a right facing arrow or a left facing arrow, that top left one being the digestion arrow. So if it points right, like Mistral, you need to have a lot more flow in how you eat. You don't need a routine. You don't necessarily need consistency. Just kind of eating when you feel like it, whether it be spontaneous or intuitive eating, whatever really resonates with you and feels good for your body, right? And then if you have a left facing digestion arrow, like myself, we do need more structure and consistency. So eating at the same times every day, eating more in the same place, the same way, right? I have one of my favorite bowls. I love bowls. It's so easy. Put it all in there. It's the perfect size. So I love using that every way, keeping that consistency. And then, knowing with that left facing arrow, I'm actively digesting life. So that is why I need to always pick. So when I go out, I make sure that I have snacks because if I'm left stranded without food and I'm in a public place where there's a lot of energy, there's a lot to digest, I'm going to need to fuel my body a little more because of that left facing arrow.